So welcome to episode 6 of Gloves and Roses podcast, and if you guys didn't know that an RV can fly, it absolutely can, with some minimal damages, but not enough to lose a down deposit on it, so...
I was about to say, don't out yourself, because they might come after you.
Yeah, minimal damages, but yeah, it can fly, and I was just surprised by the durability of an RV, and it was just an experience that makes you grateful to get home. And yeah, I did have my life flash before my eyes a little bit, because you wouldn't think an RV should fly. So if you're a non-believer, then now you can believe. But this is episode 6. We're going to be going into spooky season here, so we wanted to make a spooky themed episode. And yeah, we're going to open up the episode with, what is your guys' favorite serial killer?
Oh.
Well, you're not going to talk about the flying RV and how your soul left your body?
Did you have questions about the flying
Absolutely,
RV?
I did. What I'm picturing is the magic school bus. And I'm like, no, yeah, I can picture huge, long things flying, but not without magic.
It really was like a magic school bus moment without like the success of flying. So we were driving through Nevada in the middle of the night, and it was because the RV pickup was super late in the day. We wanted to get out a lot earlier, so by the time we were actually out on the road, it was dark as hell very quickly. And the 95 north between Las Vegas to Reno is called the loneliest road in the United States because you can drive on that road for 2 hours and not see a single person, another headlight, another town. It's like if there was
a scary story.
If there was an alien abduction to happen, it would be on that road.
It probably has happened.
I don't doubt it. But there's a turnoff when you're going up 95, and Google Maps, don't listen to Google Maps. This is like my experience where I will never trust Google Maps ever again. They have lost a customer because of this experience. But you're going up 95, and there's a left to go to Silver Lake. We're going down Silver Lake. There's like one other car behind us, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. At least we're not super alone out here. And it's 55 on these curvy, hilly roads, total pitch black, so you're only able to see like maybe 20 feet of road in front of you. But again, it's black on desert black into the hills of black. And then all of a sudden, it goes from this perfect asphalt normal highway to just a straight dirt road. And the whole RV started to vibrate so hard, I felt like it was going to explode. Like things are falling everywhere, and so we have to just slam the brakes because there's nothing we can do. And it's there's a few roads that I've seen in like Nevada that are like this, where it's like super tiny ridges. But it's like a bunch of mini speed bumps. And
do they do that so you don't fall asleep on that road?
I don't think so, because I feel like that's more dangerous to have than if they just had like blue lights or any of the other like tools that they want to use to keep people awake on the road.
Right.
And so like when you're hitting like these tiny ridges, it just feels like the car's gonna explode. It says 55 on the street. We're driving under 15 because at 55 we're not gonna make it. This thing's gonna fall apart in half. And fortunately, the car that was behind us passed us, and it was a police officer. So we're like, okay, great. Like if anything happened to us out here, at least there's local help somewhere nearby.
What do you mean? He just passed you. Your ass is on your own.
Yeah, that's true. No help there.
Yeah. So yeah, we flew from the asphalt to the dirt, survived that, and then there was another section when we were in California. California railroads, I think they came out with the railroad system long before they came out with all the roads in California.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. And ultimately, like, we were going over a hill, no warning, no signs to change speed, and mind you, like, my wife has ADHD, so if there's a change in speed sign, she's not going to see it. I have to see it and tell her, or else it's not happening. So we go over this hill, and we thought that it was just going to be a level hill, but it went straight up and then straight freaking down. And at the end of it, at the very bottom, when we're flying 55 over this hill, at the bottom of this hill is a railroad track. And so now every time we see a railroad track, we have like this flashback of like this woman flying over the railroad. And we're just like, oh. Every time we see a railroad, we're going to be grateful to be alive. So yeah, that's spooky.
You know what I'm thinking? I feel like they wouldn't have had that hill without a sign. Do you think someone took the sign trying to cause an accident?
That
it's weird. It's weird. There's no sign. There should be one.
There's nothing to do out there, so.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
On the loneliest road in Nevada.
Dude, barely survived a road trip. But it was a very Meet the Millers, or the Millers, whatever that movie is called.
Yeah, I love that movie.
The Millers.
Is that the one where they do the drug thing?
Yeah, it really felt like
no
the crazy
regrets.
RV. No regrets.
No rats?
No regrets.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
I was like, were you too young for that movie too?
No, I remember.
Like,
I think because you said it properly. You said no regrets. Or did you?
Yeah, no regrets.
No ragrats.
Well, that was a scary story. Do you have a scary story? I
have a scary story?
Have you ever seen a ghost? Or
yes, I have. So I used to work at this building in San Francisco that was built at the time of the Barbary Coast. So there used to be water. It's all landfill where our building was at. And story has it, and this has been actually chronicled at UC Berkeley. Like they did all these studies on it. Our building was a brothel. And so like there used to be working women that were in our building. And there was a Portuguese sailor who was visiting the working women in our building. So I guess the story is that he like went nutso and he killed her and then he shot himself in our building. So in this building, before it got renovated, there was a bathroom, and in the bathroom there's only 2 stalls. And I used to get to work pretty early, and so one time I was sitting in a stall in the morning, and I didn't hear anybody come into the bathroom, but I heard somebody in the other stall. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I looked down to see if like I could see feet, and there were these boots with a billion buttons on it. It was like old-timey boots.
It's a real story.
Yes, this is honest to God, a real story. That's one of them. And that person never came out of the bathroom, but they were in that stall, and I minded my own business, washed my hand, and got out. But the second...
First off, your manners. If I think there's a fucking ghost, I'm not washing my hands.
Well,
that's nuts. You're like, I still gotta wash my hands.
the-
You knew it was a ghost, right? You knew that was
Well,
probably
no, I
that.
just thought it was odd, but I didn't understand it was a ghost yet, because I just started working here.
Okay.
So...
Because can you imagine just kicking the bathroom door down? Are you a ghost?
I would do something like that, kind of, maybe.
You would confront a ghost?
No, I would just be
Psycho.
like, because I wasn't sure what was going on. I was
Coach is
like,
gonna throw her fists up.
I'm like, look at, that's my natural reaction. But I didn't know what was going on yet. I didn't know the history of the building. And this also happened, and I didn't know the history of the building. The day that I came in to sign all my paperwork, I was sitting in this corner of this room. Mind you, there was a breezeway in between, like in the middle of the building, because it was like an old building.
What's a breezeway?
A breezeway is like, it's like a little walkway, open aired. So the building is
so they build like
Yeah.
openings for the air to flow
Yes.
through the building to create natural ventilation.
my window to my desk was looking out into this breezeway. So, and it was Indian summer, San Francisco. We don't get hot weather, but September, October, like late September, early October is Indian summer, where it gets kind of crazy. It's like 90 something degrees, 100 something degrees, which is not normal for San Francisco, but it happens pretty frequently. It was Indian summer. I was filling out my paperwork, and I saw some guy with a hoodie walk past my window. And mind you, it was like my window is right here, and I literally just saw him pass by going that way. So I didn't think anything of it. The second or third day I went to work, it was really hot because it was Indian summer that week. I opened up the window, and I remembered the guy that was walking. And so I stuck my head out the window. First of all, there were weeds up to about right underneath the window. Second of all, the direction that guy was walking that I saw, there's a brick wall right there. And I never saw him turn around and go back. And then they tell me the history of the building, and I'm like putting all these things together, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like a
Wait,
vortex
wait.
where
Yeah.
you're working.
Is that kind of the whole thing too? People having these weird sightings and experiences?
Yes, like they
That's
actually had a
crazy.
seance. What these people wanted to do a seance on Halloween. And I was
Oh,
like,
dude, they are making
way.
it stronger there.
No
That's
wonder that thing
scary.
is showing up so much.
and
yeah.
every year at the same time, there's this foul smell in the building.
Like
And
dead
this
bodies?
stain is on the carpet upstairs in this one particular office. And it goes away. And we were wondering, what the heck was that? Well, that's the day that the guy killed himself and the lady. Every single year. UC Berkeley did studies on it. It's strange. But anyway, that's my story.
What's the hotel's name?
It's not a hotel.
building.
It's a
Building?
It's on 440 Pacific Avenue in San Francisco.
Look it up, Ate. What is that place called?
it
That's
was
440
it was a
Pacific
How long did you
Avenue.
work there for?
I worked there I was with that company for about 13 and a half years. I think the first 5 years I was in that building, and then we moved to a different building downtown.
Because you were sick of dealing with ghosts?
No, they were renovating it. And when they renovated it, it got even worse. And the construction workers actually like experienced supernatural things too.
Wow,
That's
check this building,
crazy.
this red one.
Yes, that's it. That's
Wow, we're gonna post this on the podcast while we're talking about
That
it.
building looks scary. That maybe because
You
told
can
me this
tell
story.
the juju
Did you
on
believe
it.
in ghosts before this happened?
the one. Yeah.
You did already. Okay, so you totally believed everyone. As soon as they explained to you what the history was, you're like, okay, I absolutely
Yeah.
was seeing a
It made
ghost.
sense.
Wow.
That is super cool, Coach. I had no idea. So do you feel like you have more of a paranormal sense than normal people? Like you are open to seeing spirits and hearing things?
No, but my husband is. I don't want to be that person. My husband is extremely sensitive to stuff like that. He's witnessed poltergeist activity and everything when he was a kid.
Poltergeist. I'm picturing that movie where stuff's like flying around
That's
the
exactly
room.
what a poltergeist experience
Is when they're able to move shit.
Yeah, that like ghosts are really angry, and so they're like, they have enough energy to move stuff around, throw dishes and all that stuff, and he's seen it.
Is it all
As
in
a kid.
California? Is it San Francisco too?
Yeah, for him it was the Bay Area.
I have a Bay Area story too. My ghost story that I was gonna share is Bay Area. So I was 19 and my girlfriend at the time turned 18. So we were going to San Francisco for her birthday, and the hotel that we were staying at, it was super old. I didn't realize like how old it was. Like the fact that it had one of those like great closing elevators. You
Yeah.
can close a metal fence to go up and down
That's
it.
scary in itself.
It is like the double dooring you're
Yeah.
manually doing is scary. And then the bed or the rooms didn't have bathrooms in it. So if you wanted to go to the toilet or to take a shower,
the
you had to
brothel. I mean, no, what are they called?
hostels.
Hostels.
Maybe
yeah.
maybe it was a hostel. I didn't know. I was 19. First time going out to San Francisco.
Was this on Broadway?
I
She
don't
already
know.
knows where you're
I know
talking
nothing. I literally know nothing about San
just
Francisco.
showed up
where
and
Was it
things
the Green
are.
Tortoise?
No, it was like black and white, and it actually had the fire escape on it, and so I
Yeah.
was able to go out into the fire escape. And I know they shut down a lot of the fire escapes out there, but yeah, it was cool to access it. Anyways, so my scary story was like there was one night we went out and then we came back pretty late at night, and it was just a weird feeling the whole time because the whole place is empty. And it's just like the type of I don't know, it's a weird silence. We're going up the elevator and I kept feeling like there's somebody that's gonna be at the elevator when it opens. And so like once it hits our floor, the elevator doors open and I step out and I kind of look back at my ex and I'm like, hey, you gonna come through? And so she's like, yeah. So she had a delayed walk out, and then we finally go into the room. And I say, because it was just like, you could see the entrance to the elevator from like the room, and there was a peephole on the door. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go to the toilet. The toilet's right across from the elevator. Here's our room, the bathroom, and then here's the elevator entrance. So I go into the bathroom, and again, I just keep having this weird feeling that there's like going to be somebody that's in the hallway, like there's something there. And so I exit the bathroom and I go into the hotel room, and so I didn't even have to knock on the door. She just opened the door open like as if she was just watching me the whole time. Closes the door behind me, and I'm like sitting in the bed, and I look back at her, and she's still staring through the peephole, and I'm like wondering like, what are you looking at? And so she was just like, she was just like, who was that you were talking to in the hallway? And I was like, I didn't talk to anyone in the hallway. And she's like, really? Like it seemed like you knew them. And I was like, there's nobody in the hallway. And so then the next day she has to she's asking me again, like very like seriously. She's like, you got out of the bathroom, you looked at the elevator, there was someone in front of the elevator that you spoke to, and then you went into the room. And I was like, I didn't speak to anyone, there was nobody there, but the feeling that I had the whole time that there was somebody waiting at that elevator stuck with me. So yeah, so I didn't see it, she saw it, and yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That reminds me, okay, in the Philippines, there is just a bunch of, this is back in the day when our mom lived there, it was complete jungle everywhere. And it was a thing where there would be creatures that would impersonate you or people you knew. And
Like
they would,
skinwalkers.
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
called something else.
and they would try to lure you into the jungle. And my mom said, there was like, that just reminds me, 'cause, like,
Multo.
is that what they're called? I
don't- they
have
hate
a
that
lot of names.
story.
Multos are ghosts, but
Do you think
There's,
that
like-
you were possessed? Do you think, were you possessed? Or was it her that was seeing something? Because that freaks me out that you don't remember it happening, like you were possessed.
I don't remember it happening. Like, I think that in general, like with what you were asking, Coach, like I have feelings about things. Like generally, I haven't seen anything. Like I'll see like shadows, but it's like I haven't seen anything. But for me, I always get like a feeling. And then when those types of other, someone else affirms, like, hey, did you see that? Like,
you're sensitive to it. So if you tapped into that.
No, I'm cool.
Yeah,
I want to respect the boundaries of like time, space.
Yeah,
it's like, that's your realm. I've got mine. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what Mom
I
would always
respect
say.
it.
She said because like her siblings didn't really believe in God, but she said that she thought that's what protected her from all the paranormal stuff that her siblings would experience because the little mystical creatures would always be picking on her siblings.
The duendes.
Yes, and she would never have experiences like that. But they would copy her face and her likeness and her voice, but never. She would never be able to see them. They would never interact with her.
Do you want me to tell the story? Like there was
with Mom climbing the tree.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my mom was walking home with her sister from school one day, and like if you're walking home from school in the Philippines, you're walking through a jungle for like 5 miles.
Yeah. You have a dirt road next to either side jungle.
Yeah, and it's jungle. It could be private land. It's like they don't really do fences out there, so it's just a lot of open land. You're walking down a dirt road, and it's my mom and her younger sister. My mom gets distracted and like ends up going and picking some farm fruits from like she just started walking by like a bunch of fruit trees, and so
she was illegally stealing her neighbor's.
So she stopped to illegally steal some fruit.
She had to climb a tree to go get it too, but
and so my aunt continues walking down the road, and she starts to hear my mom's voice calling to her. She's like, Ami, Ami, and she's looking around like where'd my sister go? And she kind of sees my mom out inside of the jungle, and she doesn't see her lips moving, but she can kind of like still hear her. And so she sees my mom start climbing up this tree, and she sees my mom fall from the tree, and it's maybe like 12 feet. Mm-hmm. So my aunt goes and runs over, and she's looking in the bushes trying to find my mom, and she's not there. So she's like freaked the fuck out. She's like walking back to the street, and then all of a sudden here comes my mom around the corner, and she's like, what happened? Where did you go? And she was like, I was picking fruit over there. And so my aunt was just like tripped out, because in the Philippines, these monsters are known for like copying your image, for copying your voice. And
they want you to follow them. And there's like stories of like people going missing for days.
Yeah.
Children for years.
Yeah. And they come back and they have no memory of what happened.
It's basically a skinwalker situation. Mm-hmm. I'm like super into paranormal stuff like that. And so skinwalkers, there's like that here.
Have
like
you guys
in America.
Seen Smile, that scary movie?
Yeah.
Because that's basically what they do. They just copy what you're in. Because there is nothing more like psychologically, I think, tormenting and like deceitful that a spirit or entity can do than mimic someone you know and love and trust.
Yeah.
To lure you and to get you to. Oh my God, that just gives me chills. It's
isn't
so
it also like a Wendigo? Like, isn't that like? Are skinwalkers and Wendigos different?
I don't know for sure, but I've heard.
If somebody knows, if you're of a tribal roots and please drop us a comment. We would love to know. Wendigos.
I thought Wendigos were those weird looking creatures. I didn't know that.
But skinwalkers are also some scary looking creatures too.
If you look it up on TikTok, it's crazy. Like
okay, I don't know to trust some of TikTok reliable because native TikTok reliable, but then AI generated TikTok.
Yeah, but I believe it's real. Like a lot of people have like reported it. Like skinwalkers are real. And I've heard the stories from my grandparents as well about them in the Philippines.
Have you ever had an experience like that?
No. As close as I got to an experience was like what I just talked about.
Do you think like in America, because we're kind of removed from like, I guess just the jungle, the earth, the nature, it's so like city here, that those creatures don't really infiltrate as much as they do here? Like I just feel like I don't know a lot of people that have these experiences as people that come from like, more native places, you know what I mean? Like my mom had a lot of experiences like that. Here, no one has stuff like that.
Oh, there's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's a lot. We just
with like skinwalkers. No, see, I feel like I see ghost stuff, but
skinwalkers are there's a ranch out in Utah.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch.
And like they put a lot of money into researching out there, because at first they were like, oh, is it aliens?
Is there a skinwalker out there?
No, watch the documentary, because it's a whole area of land where there are like weather anomalies, like
it's like a vortex.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
I mean, but it's more than a vortex. It's almost like, I mean, it's like if you talk about vortexes, I feel like it's touching the spiritual world. But then if you talked about like it's a wormhole, you start to touch into like the astrophysicist world. Like, what if it's a shortcut for aliens to travel across the dimensions?
That's the big thing here centrally, like in this kind of tri-state area. Well,
Lot
not
of
tri-state,
aliens.
like New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada.
I believe in all of this stuff, but sometimes I have this feeling. You know how back in the day, everyone thought that like no one knew how the sun came up. Everyone thought that we were the center of the universe and everything just rotated around us and we were, stationary. I wonder sometimes when we're thinking about these things where there's fluxes in gravity, in the air changes and all that stuff, if it's not actually spiritual, if 100, 200 years down the line, science will actually explain these happenings and it's not actually ghost related.
It's like a higher technology.
Yeah, it's just like something we just don't understand or can't explain yet. Like, like even to this day, they don't even understand how tornadoes really work or form. I don't know if you guys watch.
I mean, they kind of do. It's like when the cold front pushes against the hot front, and then it's kind of like when you have like when you open your door during the wintertime, and then suddenly you'll just gently touch your door and it'll slam shut, something like that. Or even in the bathroom, it's a difference of air pressure.
That sounded super scary.
No, it's a difference of air pressures. Or like if you're standing in the shower and all of a sudden the shower curtain starts to pull towards you, it's not a ghost. It's the difference in air pressures because the temperature affects the pressures, and that's how.
Okay, that makes sense. Because our
tornadoes
garage
are
door be doing that craziness.
Yeah, because if it's warmer inside your garage and it's colder outside, then yeah. Your guys' garage door. You need to fix that, bro. That shouldn't be happening.
Let's move on. I'm getting scared.
Okay, yeah. Okay, what's the scariest movie you guys have ever watched that lives in your head rent free?
Chucky. I just think.
I think after
Stop.
I think after seeing so many Chucky movies, I just can't take it seriously that it's scary anymore.
Well, okay, because I just think that as a kid, the idea of a toy coming to life. That's why I don't like Toy Story.
That's true. As a kid, it's really scary.
Because you think like in Toy Story, you can abuse your toy and they don't retaliate like
Oh,
Sid
yeah.
did. But in Chucky, I just feel like that was that. And then I would have to like lock my toys in a giant Tupperware, and because I was scared they would come out and hurt me. It was horrible. And then I felt like all of them had to be played with equally.
shouldn't
They all
have
had to be
watched
treated.
No, God.
Yeah, as a kid, yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, I thought that like all of my stuffed animals, I didn't like dolls. I thought all my stuffed animals, like when I would go to sleep, they'd get up and have tea parties and stuff like that. So like
Because you watched Chucky?
no, because
Oh.
I didn't watch Chucky. That's my point.
Oh, tea parties, like happy tea
Yeah,
parties.
like-
Oh.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't-
scary. I don't know. What about you? What's your scary?
Mine
movie?
was Candyman for sure.
Candyman's not even scary.
What?
That's not
no,
even
old
Chucky's
Candyman.
not scary either.
No, what makes Candyman scary is that it's based off of a true story. Like there was
Yeah, but you have to summon him. That's what loses all the power.
not necessarily. He's already like if you rewatch it like as an adult, he's already attacking your psyche, causing you to summon him. Like Beetlejuice, right? Like because you're in the house, because you're in like this because you're in that building of the projects, it was just like his spirit is like reaching to you and you're trying to find answers because it's like, why am I seeing this? Like, you know what I mean? And so that's really what it is. Like you're seeing signs. I don't know. It was scary
That's
to me.
because
The
she was
bees in the porta potty. That's horrible. Then when she had, was it that she crawled in to save the baby, like into
Oh,
the
yeah.
burning fire? I was like,
There
that's
was a-
horrifying. Like, how'd the baby even teleport over there? Yeah, wild. Just wild movie. I loved Candyman. That's the top one for me.
No, for me, anything that has to do with the Catholic Church. No offense to
Ooh,
religion or
yeah.
anything here, but
Oh, like what is
Those
it, The
are good.
Exorcist? Stuff like that?
Exorcist, The Omen, like every time you see a priest,
Was
That's
Omen,
true.
was Omen with the Anthony Hopkins one? There was. Oh no!
Anthony Hopkins is Silence of the
I
Lambs.
saw that and I wanted to watch it, but
So
because
The
it
Omen
looked
was
really
about this
good.
possessed little boy named Damien.
this possessed little boy named Damien. You said that so spiteful.
I am. I hate those
Is he-
movies.
Does he live in the end, or is he one of the ones that
You know,
spoil it?
I can't even tell you because I got so it would
You
give
didn't
me this queasy feeling in my stomach every time it has to do with religion and these like
Is it like the juxtaposition of?
I guess so. It's just because like
Big word.
I don't know, but I'm not really. I just can't. I feel like it's too real. It's too real.
Have you ever seen The Pope's Exorcist?
No.
That one was really good. It's on Netflix with Russell Crowe, and it's based
He's
off
a
of
good
a real.
actor.
It's based off of a real person called Father Gabriel Amorth, and it was the Vatican's
course.
leading exorcist. And based no, but
Sounds like just up your alley.
but what's so cool is that
I'm never gonna watch that movie.
it's like the Vatican like tried to like oppress the amount of information that was coming out that like exorcisms exist and that like demons exist, and it's really really good because it even shows like you as the father that's doing the exorcism, like how much torment, like the devil's directly attacking you
Yeah.
as the priest. And I get what you mean though, like just feeling uncomfortable with watching that stuff. Like so does Saley, even though she's not, as leaning into her Christian side, as her shaman
it's
side.
not even a religious thing. It's just there's something spooky about it. I mean,
like you're helpless. Like what
Yeah.
are you gonna do?
if you watched, this is kind of the same thing, but I used to love watching Zach Bagans and the Ghost Adventures, and me and my daughter, that was our like pastime, right? So there's always this priest and this nun who's not a traditional like nun with like a habit on or whatever, but we call her Thug Nun because man, she be pinning these big old people down, and they're just like taking the devil out of them, and it's like, but see, but I'm like, why can't it be like, Pastor Jake or something from like a different kind of church, like a Baptist church? Why does it got to be a Catholic priest?
I don't know.
Like, do devils only respond to
I mean,
Catholicism? Like, I don't get it.
You know what's weird too? Like the Vatican City, it's like it's the
Yeah.
smallest country in the world, and it's its own fucking country. I had no idea. I thought it was just a city in Italy.
There's a lot of stuff about
And it's weird that they would become their own country, almost like. And I don't want to get into something. I don't want to piss anyone off that's like Catholic or anything. Never mind. I'm not going to go into it. But just
it's very interesting. They have their own police.
Suspicious.
They have their own detectives
Yes.
and their own structure. Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
It's almost it's like Area 51 almost. They just know so much more about something else going on that they have to govern by their own rules or laws.
like Disneyland.
What?
I wasn't even.
Disneyland is like that.
What do you-
Disneyland is like
Yeah,
that. They have their own police. They have like
Don't fucking nod. Yeah.
there's a lot of scary stuff going on in Disneyland, like tunnels and stuff.
Yeah.
What?
We should move on.
Yeah, the wormhole of information that the general public is restricted to is like it's a long,
Is it
long
like ghost
list.
stuff or is this like a what's it called? Conspiracy theory?
No, I didn't. I saw a video where
No, the
somebody went
tunnels do
through the
exist,
actual
for sure.
No,
tunnel.
but it's like a
and
ghost related. Like there's a whole. Is
No,
it,
it's
No,
not
it's-
ghost
it's even
related.
worse than that.
It's probably crime related.
It's very, very
not
crime related, like
PEDO,
minor. Yeah.
Oh my god.
lot of trafficking. But
I mean,
anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, moving on. Checking the box. Okay, so do you guys, if you guys are gonna go to like participate in a Halloween event, do you guys buy a costume? Do you buy a
Hell
costume?
no.
Hell yes.
I make my costumes.
I respect that.
Like, do you know how to sew?
No, you just gotta use your natural beauty.
What the fuck? Oh, so you're always going
I
as
got
like someone-
ketchup.
You
I
want
got
to
mustard.
hear my best costume to date? My husband and I, we don't really celebrate Halloween or whatnot, but for whatever reason, we wanted to that year. Literally, I grabbed some sunglasses, those old school Lokes, a bandana, a sports bra, and some Adidas Snap sweatpants, and I was Aaliyah
Oh.
for Halloween. I'm gonna
Oh.
send that over to you
Yeah,
to
we'll
put on
put
the
it.
screen.
That'd be
And then
fun.
my husband was so funny. He went and got this like curly like black hair wig, and he wore his like a Raiders hat, or actually it wasn't a Raiders. It was probably like something else. But and then he got this like it was some kind of chain for something, but it was a plastic chain. And he wore this starter, and he was freaking Eazy-E. So we were Eazy-E and Aaliyah.
That's cute.
And it was
Cute.
cute. We went out and looking like that, and everybody's like, "Hey, what's up?" Except they kept calling him Ice Cube, the young Ice Cube. He was supposed to be Eazy, but he's too tall to be Eazy. So
Yeah.
he was Eazy.
Mistaken as Ice Cube.
Everybody knew I was Aaliyah, and we got a lot of compliments. So make your own costumes. Don't spend a lot of money.
That's what I'm sorry. I think dressing up and buying the little trinkets to make the costume, that's what I believe in. I don't think buying like $60 so you can look like a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
You necessarily, you don't have to take it that far. But like my office, our huge thing is all doing like group activities. Like we'll all dress up as like anime characters. We'll all do like pink ladies, geishas, stuff like that. We'll all
When you
just
guys,
collab.
what's that one that starts with a B where it's all the fancy British ladies?
Oh, Bridgerton. We did Bridgerton.
Yeah, the Bridgerton, dude.
Yeah.
That was lit. That was
Because
a lit theme.
It's almost worth it when you're doing a group activity like that,
Yeah.
even if your whole family's dressing up as something like in the same movie or same realm. It's so much fun. It makes the holiday just way better.
I understand like it's fun to like participate in that, but I guess for me that it's just like I have a hard time buying clothing that I'm never gonna wear again. Like it's really hard for me. It's like a couch you're gonna sit on it multiple times, a chair, like but something you're just gonna use one time for this one event, and it's like over the years of just if you keep buying new Halloween costumes, like you have to have a whole dedicated closet for your Halloween
I
costumes.
have a box.
Yes. So like my nephew, I love this younger generation. Like they just don't care, and I like that. So my nephew we were at his trunk or treat as elementary school this past week, and I see him and I'm like, what are you wearing? He has a picnic or a tablecloth, like the plastic tablecloth that's like the neon green, and he just cut a big hole in it, and so he had the front green, back green, and then
poncho.
like a poncho, and then a big tall white dunce hat. Like there wasn't dunce written on it, but for me, you see that, you're like,
I did
dunce
see
hat,
that
what's
picture.
happening? Yeah, and so I'm wondering like, what are you? And he's like, I'm a gnome. And I'm like, you're a gnome? I'm like, what is that from? Like, how did gnomes become relevant to you?
I
You're
thought gnomes
7.
had red hats.
I thought he was the Mucinex guy.
Dude. And it was just so funny. He's like, yeah, this is what I wanted to wear. I'm a gnome. And I guess it's a thing from a video game. But what surprised me even more was that he pointed across the parking lot and he's like, look, there's another me. And there was actually another kid that did the exact same thing. And I was just like, they just don't care. Because I remember for us growing up, like, I don't know, like maybe there was just like a social pressure of like, you have to get a new costume every year, or like, yeah, and like now it's just like kids don't give a shit. Like,
I know, you know what? Nothing
Oh,
is
garbage.
scarier. Nothing is scarier than what we had to wear in the 80s. Like you would go to the Halloween store and you would buy this little box, right? And there was those masks that you put on.
Uh-huh.
That, for example, strawberry shortcake. I don't know if you guys.
Oh
know
no,
what
that sounds horrifying.
But like, it's not meant to be scary, but it's freaking
Yeah,
scary.
yeah, I do.
And then you got like a little plastic apron thing that you wear.
Wait, in the 80s was it scary, or now looking back on it?
You gotta look.
Looking
Look
back
it
on
up.
it, it's scary.
80s Halloween costumes. Look it up.
It's specifically the masks.
It's specifically like the little kids.
I'm just picturing it
It's like the
mass
Reagan
produced.
mask.
Yeah, it's probably like just super distorted
It's
and cheap
very
and very
distorted,
eerie.
and it looks like all the kids are gonna be serial killers. See,
Wait,
like,
look up
look
little
up-
shortcake.
things like that. Like it's scary because they're not meant. Like not even the. Yeah.
that's
See.
yeah.
Yeah. It's.
I remember like this eon of clothing. I was Casper.
Oh, you
I was
did.
Casper
You were in the
in the
tail
90s.
end of when this was popular.
The
But
big
this-
silly
Oh
mask.
my goodness, this is very creepy.
And now instead of like the rubber latex masks, it's those big inflatable costumes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Brandon was a giant dinosaur one year. Yep.
That's great.
I did
Yep.
it.
Wait. Yes. Have you seen Princess Bride? Damn it.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Checkity check. Okay.
That was depressing, sorry. I've always wanted a couple
I saw it
costume
in
with
your head. It was like couples costumes.
Yeah, we've never really done a couple costume because we don't watch like the same movies, same shows, know the same references or anything, or have the same
I
taste.
feel the same way, dude.
Yeah.
It was just like this past year, Saley wanted to be Uncle Fester, and I was like, great, I'll be Debbie. And then she was like, wait, I don't want to be Uncle Fester. You should be Uncle Fester. And I was like, why would I be Uncle Fester? I don't want to be Uncle Fester.
He's the
It's
worst
hard.
character.
It's very hard to do couple costumes.
Because you want to be original, you want to do something you like, especially if you're putting all the effort and money into it.
Right,
then-
and
but
you
it's
like, you'd rather look cute than look like...
Coach doesn't know this feeling because her and her husband are like freaking iced tea.
They looked
and-
cute.
Yeah, what's his name? I got iced tea stuck in my head now.
Easy.
Not
Yeah.
iced tea or
I
iced
know.
cube.
Sorry.
You know, one year we all went out as it was American Horror Story when they were all
one.
witches. What was it?
Oh, yeah.
Coven.
The Coven. Yeah, we were the Coven one year.
That's a
That is
vibe.
super. That was my favorite season.
I was Zoe.
Oh, I love her. She's my favorite.
Yeah, they thought it was cute, and we even took like pictures. But
Did your husband dress up as the zombie guy then? If you were
no,
Zoe?
it was me and a bunch of friends. My
Oh,
husband. was
sorry.
my husband was not in.
He's gonna be Harry Potter.
You can imagine.
Dude, if you put like a little toupee on him just for the Harry Potter effect, that'd be great.
Do you know what house you are?
I believe I'm Hufflepuff.
I get Hufflepuff and Slytherin, and I'm pissed.
No, I thought I was Hufflepuff too. Me, Lee, and Tristan all took a break at work and took the test, and we were all Gryffindor.
Oh,
Good
I'm
for
Ravenclaw.
you,
I'm
Gryffindor.
Ravenclaw.
Like-
I thought I was Hufflepuff too, but I think when did you take?
Why?
This is off topic. I'm sorry. Just
Yeah.
curious.
I don't. Do I look like Hufflepuff to you?
No, I
No,
know
I feel like
Ravenclaw
you're a
or something.
Slytherin
Yeah,
or a
me too. I'm
Ravenclaw.
definitely a Slytherin, but
No, Slytherin's kind of like evilish though. They have like you're not evil, but you're just like.
well, let's just move on.
All right, check. So for our first question that we like totally glazed over was, which serial killer do you guys find the most fascinating?
I feel like you guys, I know, so I guess I'll go first. All right, Randy Stair. This guy, he was, when I think of like parasocial relationships, this guy took it to a different level. Have you guys ever seen Danny Phantom?
Yes.
In his world or fantasy, he was a YouTuber, he was kind of small. He would fantasize about being a ghost girl. It was like he was transgender and psychopathic at the same time, and the only way he could like vent that out was pretending and animating and drawing his own original characters to be inside of Danny Phantom's ghost world, interacting with one of the side characters in there. It was very disturbing, and he was so upset that he couldn't be in that world. And kind of, I relate to this a little bit when I'm done reading a really good book or watching a movie. I get so obsessed that I'm not able to be part of that world anymore. It's over. You want to be part of that society, and the story's so exciting. I can get being obsessive like that, but to this point where he wanted to kill himself and other people to be able, because he thought he would get reincarnated as a ghost girl if he did so. And he left it up to a coin toss whether or not he was going to kill his family or kill the people at his job. And the Tales decided to kill the people at his job. And he went and murdered, it was a man and a woman, and there was another girl there, but she was able to get out, and then he went and shot himself in the, like, deli section afterwards, because it was like a grocery store.
Where did he work? Oh, okay.
A grocery store, yeah. It was very, and for some reason that just stuck with me, because it was just so, I guess, unique that he would have this infatuation with a cartoon, you know what I mean? And, yeah, so he was relatable, but to, like, a disturbing, like, level. That's why I like him. Not like him, but...
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
This is why reality is important. Sorry. Do you want to go?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an easy one. You can go first.
Okay, so my favorite serial killer is Carl Panzram. His background was just so much violence. Like, his childhood was violence when he was taken into, like, he was imprisoned at a very young age as an adolescent. And the abuse that he experienced while he was there transpired and continued into his adulthood. Like, he was also assaulted when he was traveling with railway hobos, when, like, you know, hobos travel by train, that's a thing. And he ended up just taking this very nihilistic view of the world that that was all he had ever known as an experience, was just the violence. And so he projected that out into the world and became one of, like, the worst killers throughout history. But what I find so interesting about Panzram is that there was a pause in the duration of time that he was doing his crimes, or just any type of crimes, or just violence. And it was while he was at a specific jail where there was a warden that had this idea that if you give autonomy and allow these prisoners to have some independence, like you trust them to go outside the prison walls and just be people for a day, then that helps with their rehabilitation. For those, I think it was like 6 months that he was underneath that specific warden, Panzram did not commit any crimes, like, because he respected the fact that the warden was reciprocating that type of freedom, respect to prisoners. And once they removed that warden or something like that happened, he ended up returning back to his old ways and just being even more murderous in jail. But his death toll and his, like, autobiography, and I know that serial killers will embellish, like, their killing scores, but he's said to have killed, like, over, like, 100 people easily.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to tie it back because you just find, like, a dead homeless person by the train.
Yeah, and in those days and times, like, it's very hard to...
No fingerprinting.
There's no fingerprinting. There's no photos,
DNA.
no surveillance. Like, be like, yeah, I just killed a dude somewhere over there. I'd be like, I guess we'll just write that down and, like, maybe they'll find a body in the future.
Is he, like, he sticks with you the most because of his, like, transition, you think? Because even though he committed all those crimes, he was able to still reform when he was in prison with that positive influence of the warden. Is that why he kind of sticks in your memory?
I think the reason he sticks so firmly in my memory is just because he has, like, a written, I don't know if it's a biography or if it's a memoir where somebody else wrote it down for him, but I think that just hearing a serial killer in his own words confess to the crimes that they did and to explain why they did it, and you can really understand why. I was like, dude, you were fucked up and you let out that fucked up on the rest of the world. It was like, that makes sense, you know. And I feel like that's probably one of the few situations where I could be like, being a serial killer, like that, like the logic and how that all transpired and escalated, it was just like the system failed him, you know. And it's just like that type of neglect in our society can create murderers too. It's interesting.
Yeah, I guess I just can't imagine, like, when people are abused in the way he was. He knows how horrible it is. Why would you, like, do it to... I guess it was just hating everyone.
And Jordan Peterson in his 12 Rules of Life book, he addresses that. He's like, there are people like Panzram who experience like that type of world, and so then they continue to project that type of world, but it really is like a decision to just view the world and value it differently, because like I guess that if you zoom out of the world and you're like, hey, there's people that do bad things. Everyone is a person that just does good and bad things. But when you zoom out and you look at like society is more peaceful today, arguably, I'll just say arguably, it's more peaceful today. So I would feel like that should show that human beings would prefer order out of chaos. And so there is more good in humans than there is bad. And so, but I think that for people like in Panzram's position, they were never exposed to that type of thinking. And so, yeah, you can just be very convinced of a certain type of world. Did I answer your question? Did I stretch too far? Okay.
No. I like that you tied in Jordan Peterson. That was
Yeah. Because
does he also reference him in his book?
Yeah, he references Panzram just because.
I bet you got your giddies to that. I also know.
No, yeah, a little bit. Okay, Coach.
I'd say Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. I am the person that they describe on TikTok that sits on the couch and watches all these like serial killer documentaries.
Yeah, relatable.
But I remember being a kid and I remember the Night Stalker like being on the news, and I'm from the Bay Area, specifically San Francisco, and I remember he was in LA and then he came down to the Bay Area and killed a family. But I don't know what fascinated about. I guess the fascination would be the same with all the different serial killers that like I've read about or watched documentaries on. It's not so much like why. I just want to know why. What's going on in their head? What makes them that way? Mm-hmm. I have this like real crazy fascination with like the psyche of a serial killer.
Yeah.
And all the traits, but specifically Richard Ramirez, I was really excited when that documentary came out on Netflix, because I remembered all the stories about it, and I remember my dad telling me, make sure you close the gate, because there's some crazy guy out here like killing people, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And
did you close the gate?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, well, my dad was very extra careful with everything, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's a Vietnam veteran, but like. He would always check the gate, the doors. He would lock his door to his bedroom, but we weren't allowed to lock ours because he needed to get in there if anything happened.
You're like, thanks. The locked door slows it down, no?
But, yeah, I remember the stories of Richard Ramirez when I was a kid. And then, I don't know if you guys saw that documentary on Netflix, the Hotel Cecil. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or Cecil Hotel, sorry, in LA. There's a tie-in with Richard Ramirez living there, and like he would go there after people would see him like take his bloody clothes off and throw it in a dumpster.
Yeah, that
after he finished killing people.
In it.
Yeah, there's definitely energy there.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's still open is crazy to me. But yeah, I would.
People are so like morbid. They like to go stay in haunted houses. That stuff makes money. People like to cross the line and boundaries. I think when it comes to the paranormal. Yeah.
Or even just imagine like the people that like to be like that are kind of like collectors and really concerned. Like I know like that's Zach Baggins, right? Yeah. But it's like thank God the police are like they hold on to all like murder evidence and they have to go through a specific process to destroy it all. Because can you imagine how many freaks are out there that are like this is the knife Richard Ramirez used and it's like in this crime and it's like that's freak, dude.
So that going back to the Zach Baggins Museum here in Vegas, you have to sign a waiver to go in there
because some stuff can attach to you.
Yeah, people literally come out of that place sick, and I refuse to go in there because I think the reason why I watch that stuff on TV is because I'm like, I want to see this idiot touch the oven because I would never do it. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I want to see what happens to them when they do it because I know that stuff is real. And when you go in there, like, there's people that do these weird TikToks that are like, this is me before I go into Zach Baggins Museum, and then this is me after, and they're all distraught. But there was this one influencer who literally was sick for like a week, and all this weird stuff started happening in her home. Things were moving around. She was hearing things. Doors were slamming. Things were scratching at the door. She could hear like her son talking on the other side of the door saying open the door, but knowing her son wasn't home, all kinds of stuff like that. It's all connected to going into that place because that stuff is real.
Or they
like,
even
real.
they have that doll too. I forgot it. I think it's like
Annabelle?
Yeah,
no.
it's
It's like
a
Petey
sailor.
or Stevie. Yeah, it's the
some sailor doll.
The sailor one is legendary. I don't know his name, and if I'm not even put in the time to Google it, but essentially, like, he's the true Annabelle. And if you if you speak bad on his name, like, even if you just saw a photo of him, like, and that's how they say, like, how powerful this doll is that you don't even have to physically see him. If you talked bad about him, even on the internet, like, separately, like, that energy you're sending towards him, he'll receive it and he'll send it back to you worse. So, like, yeah, so it's
I forgot what his name is, but I know exactly who you're talking
Yes.
about. And it looks like a regular little, like,
just a very
cloth doll.
older cloth doll from, like, maybe the 1800s or something. Just it's a bigger size too. So they say that his origins may have been that he was a display case doll because they have no idea where his actual size was not the size that went into manufacturing. So he must have been like a show display,
like an original, like
but
the
they don't
OG.
know what store. Yeah,
He's a
That's crazy.
display doll now.
and the other thing too that's crazy is, like, when you talk about that spirit stuff, it's like it doesn't even have to be a place that's like, this is scary stuff, we collect scary stuff. Barnes and Noble, like, if you stroll through, like, the spiritual and occult section, like, we're kind of into, like, reading about, like, witchcraft and paganism. Like, I like reading theology and history and just different practices. But there was one book that it was like you could feel it, like, so, like, as if, like, it's a shared community book, like as if a bunch of witches can just walk through and, like, that's their shared book in a Barnes and Noble public place. Like, I don't know, but it's like you could feel, like, that book.
Is that from a video you
Stay
watched,
away
or
from
you
that.
physically
No, I
went into a store?
physically was there, and I was like, Saley was there too, and we saw that book and we were like, something is weird about that. Like, we both felt it, and it was like there was other copies of it, and those copies were fine, but that one was not. And so it was just like, that was weird.
That's creepy.
But it's just like things, dude. Just
Yeah,
things.
that's real stuff.
Like, on the flip side of it too, part of me, because I've never had like an experience like that where some stuff has like followed me, or I've interacted with stuff and felt like a presence. Sometimes I think when people put themselves in a situation where they're around haunted objects, it opens their minds to those type of thoughts.
Yeah,
so when you go
definitely.
home now, I think there's dead people everywhere. Thousands and
Yeah.
millions of people have died.
Yeah.
There's ghosts everywhere. I think now that your mind's open to it and you're more susceptible to the influence, now you can start hearing the noises and the things that have always been happening around
Yeah,
you.
you become extra vulnerable to it.
Yeah, not necessarily that the stuff is haunting and latching to you, but that's, I mean, or it could be. It fucking could be.
Do you believe in ghosts, Brina?
Sometimes. I think a lot of people.
Sometimes. Sounds
Well,
like.
I think lately.
That doesn't have anything to do
I
with
think
us. I just-
like a lot of people see and hear things that aren't actually happening.
For sure.
And overanalyze small things that happen, or like, blame stuff on ghosts or spirits or energy. That's not really what's happening. I think a lot of people pretend to be psychic or mediums, or, can hear things, and they don't. So
Do you believe that rocks give off energy?
crystals, absolutely. They've been here for millions of years. Absolutely.
Okay.
As I look at
So I don't know. I mean, I know that they're
Oh,
two.
yeah.
I know it's two different subjects,
My
but I'm
twin made this
just
for my
calling
dog,
out,
and
like,
I
the
stole
silly.
it.
I'm just calling out the difference of, like, silly rationale, right? It was just like the energy that would create
No, I
ghosts
believe
doesn't
energy
make
exists.
as
I don't
much
believe
sense, but
people. That's what I'm saying.
People's energy.
Not people's energy. People saying they're experiencing things or seeing things or hearing things. I think a lot of them don't. That's what I'm saying.
do you believe me?
Of course.
We
I'm
just need
just
to go
saying-
drop Brina in Skinwalker Ranch and see what happens
I
to
just-
her.
I-
She's like,
I will
nothing
watch
happened.
you guys on FaceTime. I'm not going.
There's just a lot of people who I think monopolize on people's need.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So they pretend to be
Yeah.
psychic. They pretend to
Their
speak to your
fascination,
parents that
yeah.
are dead, and that's what I think is sick.
Dude, I will never let it go. The fact that, like, one of the psychic stores we went to when we were doing our spirit animals, they said I was a ladybug, bro. I am forever mad.
Based off
Forever
a
mad.
pine cone. It was so horrible.
Yeah, so I picked out a pine cone, and apparently that pine cone told her that I was a ladybug, and I'm like,
I had a psychic tell me that I should stay with my abusive ex, and so I think those people ruin it for the people that actually do have the gift, but people who have
Right.
the gift aren't soliciting it the way these people are.
I think that people that have that gift, a lot of them don't want it.
Yeah, it's so intrusive.
It's got to be tiring to, like, carry other people's energy.
Hear their stories.
I just wouldn't want it. They're extra sensitive. I actually know people like that it's really hard for them. Like, they'll walk into a room and not know 100 people, but that one person that has that negative energy will, like, literally drain them. They'll get sick.
I mean, I think that's also part of like, you know, the psychic journey too. Is like there are those like soul sucking people or energy sucking people, and they don't even realize that they're like that because maybe they're not even trying to be. But it's like there's always takers and givers in our lives. And I think that one thing, like if you are someone that's spiritual, it's like there's defensive spiritualism you can also practice. Where if you do feel like there's things around you in the room, you can create like a light ball. Yeah, and you project it. There you go, project your own
Force
lightness.
field.
Yeah, force field. The force. So, okay, spiritualism meets Star Wars.
Only with you.
Okay. All right, do we end it here, guys?
Yeah, that was a great conversation.
Yeah, I
You guys
thought it
have
was
really,
good.
yeah, you've given me the goosebumps.
That was the point. I like to give you this.
That was stop. Oh, okay. This is supposed to be Halloween. Meet me at Valentine's Day.
All right, guys, thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks, baby.